In January 1951, storm warnings had been issued when the collier Kiama left Newcastle with 506 tons of coal and a crew of 12. Heavy seas shifted the cargo and the ship capsized off the entrance, New South Wales. 6 of the crew managed to swim ashore, the rest perished, including the captain. From tragedy to triumph, Captain P.G. Taylor returned from a survey of the Pacific Ocean to Chile, South America. Another achievement in a long career of aviation. An associate of the great Smithy, no Australian has ever contributed so much in the field of air route pioneering and navigation. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands lined the streets in capital cities to watch the Jubilee processions. New Australians from all over Europe dressed in national costume added to the colourful spectacle, displaying enthusiasm for their new country. This coach carried the Duke of Gloucester in the Melbourne centenary of 1934. A memorable cavalcade of Jubilee. This was not only a year for parades, but a big year for chess players. And at this open-air contest at Bondi Beach, 3 Australian chess champions, Purdy, Steiner and Koschnitzky, challenged 20 players at a time. A fundraising stunt for the Red Cross in 1951. A check for a checkmate in this open-air contest. But indoors came a revolutionary change in the marketing of the latest fashions. A gimmick for gowns, one might say, as leading Sydney models took their wares to factories. Workers were given a lunchtime look at the new look. On this chap, the effect could even be described as hypnotic. Tiny Rosalie Campbell played her first tune on a piano when she was just 18 months old, before she learned to talk or walk. Here in 1951, she was just 2½. By the time she was 9, she'd won 21 silver cups and 10 medals. On the eve of her 10th birthday, she became the youngest soloist ever to play with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Brought from the outback of New South Wales by the Aborigines Welfare Board, 90 native Australians descended upon Sydney's Luna Park. A day they'll never forget. And for the natives up in New Guinea, a day they will remember. Without warning, one January morning, the Owen Stanley Range rocked as the side of volcanic Mount Lamington blew out. Death came mercifully swift to more than 4,000 people. Villagers and inhabitants in the direct path disappeared without trace. Rescue teams flown into the wartime Popondetta airstrips came upon unbelievable scenes of carnage as they probed the stricken area. 350 million tons of earth blown out. The blast had a lethal range of 6 miles and a destructive force greater than the atom bomb. It was an extraordinary spectacle. The jungle for miles a mantle of pumice. Mount Lamington and Mother Nature on the rampage. In Sydney Harbour, the trading ship Bololo's short but colourful career was threatened when a cargo of copra burst into fire, but she survived to maintain her link with the Pacific Islands. Inland in the parched northwest districts of New South Wales, a much more ferocious blaze was wreaking widespread havoc. Started by lightning and fanned by strong winds, the flames swept through thousands of acres of pastures, consuming valuable crops, destroying miles of fencing. For nearly 2 weeks, beaters fought the inferno. Thousands of sheep perished, some suffocated, some incinerated by that most frightening of all menaces of the outback, the bushfire. Later in the year, after heavy rains, rust ravaged crops in the wheat belt of the same area. And where the grain was not ruined by rust, a new disease called septoria attacked the roots and lower stems. Then lettuce weed choked growth and clogged headers. But these setbacks and problems, caused by nature's contrariness, tested man's ingenuity. Inventive brains produced a new type of conveyor for a bulk handling system which eliminated costly handling and speeded the grain from mobile bins to capacious silos on the farm, enabling stocks to be held in safety until space was available at the railhead silos. Further inland, for the Reverend John Flynn, this famous landmark was a boundary post on the largest church parish in the world. Alice Springs, an oasis where on this 23rd day of May 1951, at a simple funeral, men and women of all classes and creeds gathered to bid farewell to Flynn of the Inland, the Victorian-born Presbyterian minister who founded the Inland Mission in 1921, the Flying Doctor Service in 1929, and who conceived the pedal wireless transceiver. For 39 years, Flynn dedicated himself to those living in an area of more than 500,000 square miles. And in Bathurst, New South Wales, another famous Australian, Joseph Benedict Chifley, was also laid to rest. Son of a blacksmith who rose from an engine driver to become Prime Minister, Ben, or Chif as he was affectionately known, presented a popular picture as a pipe-smoking, homespun philosopher. From his plain statements and homely sincerity of approach emerged a great strength and integrity. In Melbourne, at the Shrine of Remembrance, veterans and colleagues of 2 world wars paid their respects to one of Australia's greatest soldiers, Sir Thomas Albert Blamey, a lieutenant on Gallipoli, Chief of Staff to General Monash in France in 1918, GOC of the 2nd AIF in the Middle East, commanding officer of Allied land forces in the Southwest Pacific area, the only Australian to attain the rank of Field Marshal.